Oh, it's pretty calm here on a beautiful day in that Oaxacan sky. Anyway, welcome to another episode of Crime Pays, but Botany Doesn't. We're going to make it a short one because there's not really much to say except that this is a big, fucking wonderful organism right here. This is Arbol Del Tule. Nice Tillandsia recurvata up there. Nice ball moss on those wires. Bromeliad family. Bromeliaceae. Okay, nothing to say except that this is a big, beautiful old bastard, okay? Big, beautiful old bastard. Montezuma cypress, Taxodium mucronatum, estimated to be around 2,000 years old, but I don't know if they actually stuck the increment borer in there. You know, it's a tourist attraction. God, I've never been so annoyed by church bells before. That's not true. Yes, I have. Okay, 2,000 years old at least. I don't know, I don't know what the actual increment borer said, but you can clearly see this thing is a fucking monster. All right, a big, beautiful monster. Semi-deciduous monster, and a close relative of our Louisiana bald cypress in the United States, and a somewhat more distant relative of the California coast redwood. I don't even think they're letting you in there right now. Maybe you gotta pay or something. Yeah, maybe if you pay, you can get in there. They pay 50 pesos or something. Look at how massive. I mean, this thing's the size of a house, okay? You talk about General Sherman, corny fucking name for a tree, by the way. You talk about all these, what's the other one called? Jebediah, that one up in the California coast redwood. You say they're big? Nobody's as big as this guy, okay? This is a big old bastard, okay? And you can see those little pendant stringy things. Those are the male strobili. Right there, aka the pollen cones, because like almost every conifer, it's wind dispersed. The mega strobili are a little bit higher up on a tree. Let's see if we can find one. Now, unlike the bald cypress, oh, there you go. Unlike the bald cypress, the cones of Taxodium mucronatum are somewhat smaller. They're a lot smaller than a bald cypress. Okay, the bald cypress has somewhat big soccer ball looking cones. These are a little bit tinier. And they grow on all the way up. This species grows all the way on up into San Antonio, Texas, into the rivers around it, but only grows in the rivers. They're here. Apparently, it's tapped into the water table. Who knows what the surrounding area was like 500 years ago? Maybe it was a little baggy. Okay, maybe there was water tables close. It's got to have wet feet. These got to have wet feet. They're not tolerant to drying out. So in Texas, you only find them growing in rivers and waterways and what the shit. But once they get in there, they're set. And they got so many tannins in that wood, not much can eat them in the way of fungi or insects or anything else. So that's why they can last so goddamn long. Look at it. Look at that thing. How'd you like to go up there? Go hang up there. Go do your bong rips up there. Okay? If you're inclined to that sort of thing, I might just go up there and try to meditate. Nah, I can't meditate. I can't sit still for the life of me. But I would try if I got up there, climb up there. And see, I'll be up here till they kick me out the summer. See, there's those female cones dropping seeds. They just kind of fall apart and drop those seeds out. They just kind of disintegrate. And there, of course, there. I mean, look at how fucking that thing's. It's incredible how large that is. How big around. That is easily the size of a house, and like a fancy house too. Okay. Not like one of these, what they're trying to do people with on the West Coast, those accessory dwelling units, where you're paying $3,000, but you're still living in a fucking closet. Not something like that. This is a large, This is a fucking beast. I mean, it's just like a... There's McMansions I've seen in South Texas. Hideous to look at. It would be the equivalent of having a hot poker in my ass while being forced to listen to Michael Bolton. But there's McMansions that I've seen that are not even as big. I mean, that's saying a lot, you know. In North Shore of Chicago, another terrible place, there's McMansions that are smaller than this tree. It really is. I mean, you know, who needs any of your make-believe Jesus or Allah when you got stuff like this, right? You could take it there. I'm not afraid to take it there, you know. People believe such silly shit anyway. I could assign a life force to this guy right here. Look at it. What a beast. See, and there you go. I had to go ahead and do it and swipe some. They probably yell at me, but see, beautiful geometry on those cones too, huh? But of course, they just disintegrate when they do. There's the actual individual seeds, somewhat tiny. But the idea being, they just, you know, they sit down and they float in the river. Okay, they kind of drift down into the river, drop into the river, and then drift down the river. You know, on downwards till they get lodged at somewhere, you know, on some muddy bank somewhere, germinate, and then you get another one. Also, I feel it pertinent to mention, unlike Taxodium disticum, which forms the infamous cypress knees, the pneumatophores, the purpose of which is still not really known. Some people think it, some botanists think it helps the tree get air into those roots, you know, what the shit, but there's no real way to prove that. So far as I know, maybe there's a paper out there, I don't know, maybe you can find it. But unlike Taxodium disticum, which gets knees, Taxodium mucronatum doesn't get knees. It doesn't. UC Berkeley actually used to have a wonderful specimen of this, and they grow fast as hell. It got very big. I think it was only 50 years old. But like most botanic gardens are doing, they had to whore their land out on the weekends to, you know, to corporate events and weddings and all that shit. Somewhat nauseating. So they had to cut the tree down so they could move some building there to host the events and whatnot. But Taxodium mucronatum does grow very fast. I believe there's a population in New Mexico too, and you know, it's probably cold tolerant, not as cold tolerant as Taxodium disticum. So you're not gonna be able to grow this in Chicago like you can grow the bald cypress in Chicago, but you could probably grow it. It could probably get a little chilly. I'd imagine so. It's semi-deciduous, so they don't totally drop those needles like the bald cypress do, but they lose them a little bit. You know, it's like they go halfy. See, they don't want you to cut the ramas off the tree, but they didn't say nothing about conos. So, you know, I think it's fine. Maybe I'll get banned. Maybe I'll get a flag on my passport. Now, look at that. Can you believe it's like a fucking cathedral? Do you think anything like that would last in the U.S.? Probably not. It'd be turned into a fucking Walgreens or something, probably. That's what I'd assume, you know. I guess they wanted to turn the botanic garden here into a parking garage at one point. Look at that thing. Yeah, I figure you got a bunch of goddamn lumber in there, old boy. How many board feet? It really makes it this little book. It's like something you'd see in a mini golf course. But, you know, I think some of those numbers might be off. I don't think it weighs 636,000 tons, because that would be the weight of, like, I don't know, 60 freight trains. But it does weigh a lot. Well, you could say that. All right, and I believe Taxodium's pretty light wood, like many members of Cupressaceae. You know, it's not that heavy. Look at that, though. Just let yourself marinate on it. That visual opium for a while, if you call it that. Let's not say opium. It's kind of a, you know, given it the current date, it's not the best use of the word. Let's say visual orgasm. How's that? All right, all the patterns, the lines, the striations, the furrows in the bark. Look at that thing. I mean, just. This thing is, it's incredible. And how old? Again, how would you even, where's the center? How would you even go about boring something like that? You know? Of course, the Catholics are going to call it St. Mary a Tule. I don't know. You know, I'm going to be more curious what the native people who lived there for about 15,000 years call it. That's what I would love to have. I'll put it in the captions there. I'm sure we can figure it out. Now, I don't know if they built the Casa de Jesus here, or I think that's what that is. What is that, a Casa de Jesus or something? I don't know. Maybe, who knows? Who cares? Unimportant. This thing is what's important. I mean, just it's crazy to think, too. Most of the mass of that is dead wood. Okay, it's really only alive on the outer few inches surrounding the circumference of all that vasculature. I'd love to see an X-ray 3D diagram of what actually comprises the living tissue and the vasculature of this wonderful beast. It's just all branches. I mean, the resemblance to redwoods is uncanny, of course. Look at it, just the epic green wall. So Taxodium mucronatum, you can grow these things in a lot of the United States actually. You know, in some ways they're a more beautiful tree with a more beautiful habit than a bald cypress, but I like them both, to be fair. You know, and even more interesting is the human story, you know? How many people have banged beneath this tree? How many fights have broken out beneath this tree? Has there ever been a knifing? How many people have gotten hammered beneath this tree? The things that this thing has seen, what could this tree tell us about our own primate species if it could talk, you know? Granted, you'd have to be on a lot of psychedelics to even begin to expound, but it could be done, you know? When's the last time anybody ate acid under this tree? Where do you get good acid in Oaxaca City? That's a rhetorical question, don't answer, okay? You get these spammers sometimes, you know? Has anyone ever been sold bunk acid under this tree? Could be. You know what? When was the last time somebody was arrested beneath this tree? You know, probably not that long ago. Shit, it might not be that far into the future. It could be 30 seconds. Look at those massive branches. Massive roots. Furrows. When's the last time anybody ever climbed up in there? You know, I'm surprised there's not more Tillandsian with the shit up there. You'd think there would be. You know, there's probably a whole lizard community up there. That's where they're programming a simulation for us. Anyway, I don't know what else I can say about this thing. It's a fucking wonderful beast. Okay, and if you don't know about it, now you do. I mention it every time I come across Taxodium mucronatum in habitat. A massively important tree, underappreciated. Okay, kind of second city to the Taxodium discum, to the bald cypress, and I don't know. There's not much else to say. I'm not going to give you history. I'm not going to give you cultural history. I'm not going to don't even talk about the science. I did it in all the other videos. We're just going to, this is just sheer visual enjoyment. And my kind of preposterous ramblings. Anyway, that's all I got for you this afternoon. Have a good rest of your day. Go fuck yourself. Bye.